The Honourable Shane Jones.
Mr. Speaker, to the Minister for Economic Development. What action has he taken to ensure high-value jobs are retained in Otago, Waikato, Northland, East Coast and Manawatu?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, the government has taken a very large range of actions, in fact around 360 in its business growth agenda, which goes across different regions. And actually, it's a very good summary that the member might be interested in reading in this report, which breaks it down by region for him. But there is, as I say, a large number. For one example, Mr. Speaker, is the Waikato region, which is one example the member raises. For example, we're investing around $41 million over the last 3 years in R&D grants in the Waikato for companies to grow there. Investing in a number of start-up fast growth companies through the Venture Investment Fund. It's about just under 70 Waikato companies that are involved with New Zealand trade and enterprise. We fund and support the Soda Incubator in Hamilton. We provide a large number of capability development vouchers for Waikato businesses through Opportunity Hamilton. We are, of course, building ultra-fast broadband through Hamilton.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, it will have occurred to you, and it occurs to, I'm sure, of my colleagues, that this is a minister that can simply not answer the question with any brevity whatsoever. It's a long tirade he always involves himself in, and surely after all this time, he should have learned to get his thoughts right.
The member will resume his seat. The minister was giving a very adequate answer. There are too many occasions when the member himself jumps to his feet and said the answer is not satisfactory. On this occasion, the minister can continue where he was. Certainly don't start the question again.
As I was saying, Mr. Speaker, I'll continue on. There's, of course, the ultra-fast broadband initiative in the Waikato, the rural broadband initiative. We are, of course, building the Waikato Expressway, a road of national significance, which is crucial for the region's development. The Waikato projects on the National Cycle Trail, investing in the Food Innovation Network facilities at the Waikato Innovation Park.
Order. I'm now starting to agree with the right honourable gentleman. That's quite long enough. Supplementary question, Sue Moroni.
Well, what new economic development plan does he have for the Waikato region now that our region's leadership role in agricultural research and development has been gutted, Minister? Gutted with the announcement of 180 jobs going from the ag research.
Order. On this occasion, I'm going to ask Sue Moroni to start her question again. But order. I want it to be a question that's in line with standing orders, short, sharp and concise, without the addition. Order! Does the Honourable David Parker wish to stay for the question time? I was on my feet. Point of order, Honourable David Parker.
There were a number of interjections which were out of order during your response to the point of order, and I accept your admonition in respect of that. But the problem that the opposition has with that ruling is that a similar standard should be applied to answers as is applied to questions. And the last answer that we had from the very minister showed that there is some inconsistency in that regard.
Order. When you look at the question, it was a very broad question involving many significant parts of New Zealand. The minister gave a substantial answer. It was interrupted. Sorry, I'm on my feet, the Honourable Shane Jones. The right honourable member interrupted at one stage, and I thought on that occasion I'd give the minister a time to complete his answer. I then was in agreement with the right honourable Winston Peters. The answer was too long, and I asked the minister to cease that answer. I'm now giving a supplementary question to Sue Moroni, but it will not be a long-winded supplementary. It will be a supplementary question in line with standing orders.
Thank you.
Supplementary question, Sue Moroni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. I've called Sue Moroni. I never called the Honourable Annette King. Sue Moroni.
Well, point of order, Mr. Speaker.
I have a point of order, Sue Moroni.
Actually, the first person to speak after you called me was actually David Bennett, and I suggest that you actually deal with.
My patience is running out with the whole of the House. The reason I pick Annette King is because I was looking at Sue Moroni calling her. I have not got the ability to look at the whole House at one time, and I'd like members to appreciate that. I'm calling Sue Moroni supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What new economic development plan does he have for the Waikato region now that our region's leadership role in agricultural research and development has been gutted with the announcement of 180 jobs going from Ag Research's Ruakura campus, and given that 130 New Zealand Post jobs will also be lost from Hamilton?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr Speaker, I think the member highlights the importance of attracting new investment because, of course, the post office changes are being occurred because people just simply don't send mail anymore. Now, Mr Speaker, I have a total of 16 separate initiatives in Waikato, some of which I've already listed for the member. I presume you don't want me to go through
I certainly don't want
16,
the Minister to repeat
but
those.
if I could just give you a few examples, Mr Speaker. As I said before to the member, $41 million in R&D grants to help the development of new innovation with businesses in the Waikato. Investing directly in fast growth companies through the Venture Investment Fund and Seed Co-Investment Fund. The very big investment that the country is making in the Waikato Expressway, road of national significance, which is a couple of $1 billion to be completed by 2019. The very significant...
And that's a long enough answer. Supplementary question? A point of order?
Point of order, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question asked about new economic development plans from that Minister, and he has yet to actually answer that.
Order. Speaking to the point of order, Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, it's very difficult for the Minister to answer when the person asking the question, supported by her party, start moaning about getting an answer.
Order. And that's not... The question was asked. The question was very adequately addressed on this occasion. Further supplementaries? Honourable Shane Jones.
To the Minister, given that the East Coast and Hawke's Bay has again experienced unemployment increases and the Minister's silver bullet for that region of oil and gas hangs on a very big could, what does the Minister suggest the 8,300 unemployed in the region do while they wait?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr Speaker, again, we're focusing on a large number of initiatives. I thank the member for bringing up the positive efforts we're making in East Coast oil and gas exploration. I appreciate he doesn't have the support of his own energy and resources spokesperson in that regard. We're also making very big investments, for example, in ultra-fast broadband in Napier and Hastings and Gisborne, where people are involved building those. They have jobs doing so. We're also developing, as we know, the National Cycle Trail has got investment in that area. We've increased the number of youth guarantee places in that area to around $600. We're developing an irrigation scheme that we're looking to see developed in the Ruataniwha area, which the government is very positive about, and that will bring lots of jobs for that region, Mr Speaker. We're also investing in the Primary Growth Partnership to lift private sector investment in innovation. We're spending a lot of money developing new work with the Polytechnic and Eastern Institute of Technology and Tairāwhiti.
Order.
Sorry.
I appreciate the answer from the Minister.
Supplementary, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Mika Whaitari.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, is an unemployment rate of 7.6% in Gisborne, Hawke's Bay acceptable to his government? And if not, what action has he taken specific to this region to grow jobs?
Mr.
Honourable
Speaker,
Stephen Joyce.
The member makes a very good point. It is actually obviously want that rate to come down. And you do that by encouraging investment in productive jobs and growth in that region. And to the new member, I noticed in the by-election recently that every candidate was against oil and gas on the East Coast, and in the same breath were asking for more jobs on the East Coast. I recommend she thinks about that approach.
Order. Order. Supplementary question, Honourable Shane Jones. Order. I have called Shane Jones.
How does he regard irrigation as a growth support mechanism, given that no one from the farming community in Hawke's Bay has actually signed up to purchase the irrigated water, and will he then give them a $30 million cheque as well?
Well, Mr Speaker, it's good to see the Labor Party only took 3 supplementaries to line up against economic development in the Hawke's Bay. Mr Speaker, I'm assuming they haven't signed up yet because they haven't been offered an opportunity to sign up yet, but I can tell the member it's these sorts of infrastructural investments that will make the long and medium-term difference to employment in Hawke's Bay and the East Coast.
Question number 7, Kevin Hay. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Health and asks,